My name is Sharon. I'm originally from Hong Kong, but I've been in London for around 2 years now before starting my MBA at Hult in London. So before my MBA, I was working at Apple for around 6 years. So it was more in the retail capacity. I was doing their trainee program, if you would say, and then became a manager, working in stores in Hong Kong, and then moved to London for other stores as well. So basically, it kind of hits me where to go next. I love the company, but I really want to, experience something else, change a bit of, my career path. And I think MBA is sort of my way to figure out where I want to go next. So if you want to ask me now where I want to go next, it's going to be a hard question for me. I think that's the beauty of doing an MBA. I get to expose to more people who is from different backgrounds, like people from finance, consulting, marketing, or I have like classmates who were like dancers. There are a lot of people in the classroom. I think that really helps. And also I think the networking, also the support from the school has been very impressive to help me to kind of figure out what I want. I think that's basically why I started wanting to consider to do the MBA and decided to do an MBA at the end, trying to figure out what is next in my career. That is really hard, actually. I think I would say I'm iCloud, actually. Not a physical product, because I think I really like iCloud. And I know there are people who are not very much in the cloud space or don't know what it is. And I think sometimes that's how I value about like connecting with people. You have to get to know them to know what they are, because a lot of time the fears of another person or first impression is because you don't know them. So I think like whenever I describe iCloud to people, like no matter it's customers or my friends, my family, I feel like there's an obligation that I need to let them know what is so good about that. And I think like when I said, well, it kind of resonate myself because I want them to want people to know me. And I think it is a two-way street that if you want people to know you, you need to describe yourself. You need to, to kind of push yourself to network. I'm never a person who likes to just, networking because it terrifies me, but it is what is needed when you want to grow yourself. You want to, be helpful to other people. And kind of that's part of the reason why I'm doing this ambassador as well. To help myself a little bit, to develop myself a little bit. So I think like iCloud, it's like something that it's kind of, there, but it's definitely a lot to offer when you discover it. I think in a way, it's both like a hidden gem, a little bit. I guess obviously, as we, it's a relatively new business school, very different way of teaching or like curriculum wise, I think, compared to big schools like Ivy League or the big names of MBAs. It kind of like like when you talk about Apple, people think about iPhone, Mac, they kind of steal the thunders, no? But I think it's a hidden gem that it really provides something that you might not think of before. I think one of the things it really gets my attention for a whole when I apply for it was that it's not about the degree so much, but really about the journey when you're on MBA. Of course, MBA is important. It's a title. After all, we're being realistic, right? It's this title you want to gain at the end. But I think they have focused so much about the journey, that 1 year journey when you go on, how you grow yourself. And like we talk of something about a growth mindset. It sounds like a cliche, but it's really like, are you really pushing yourself to learn from others, to learn from the school? And I think it's a very important mentality that I value. and I want to be in a school that really, walk the talk and really pushing the students into different scenario. And also, I think most of the professors that teach there, even they're not full-time, they really understand that, and they would display that in classes as well. So I think that it's more of the journey part than the end result of the MBA title or certificate. And I think 2 months in, I certainly have get that from the people they recruited into the MBA classes, but also from the faculty as well. So it's a hidden gem, I would say, but it is a very important finding if you have a chance to really get to know it. For me, because I have already been in London for 2 years working first. So I think when I was considering an MBA, it was a lot about my personal life as well, where I want to stay. And as the cliche has it, my boyfriend is here. So part of the reason why I'm staying here. But I think as much as other school is very international, I think for example, I don't know about other school, but for example, LBS, I know a person who studies there, they have a cohort of 500 people. It's a large cohort compared to we have 80. And that feels like it would be a difference to me. When you want to be really truly experience how it is to work with everyone, when you are literally not a minority or a majority of the population, that's where you are really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. The maximum we have, maybe it's 4 Mexican and 4 British people from our cohort, but it's still, that's very, very minority, right? And I think that part of it really kind of resonate with me compared to other school, even in London. And I personally just want to stay in the UK a little bit longer instead of going back to Hong Kong. Actually, when I was applying for MBAs, I was looking at a lot of them. Maybe other schools, mostly in London. That's where I've been looking at. Maybe it's not the best strategy, but I really want to stay in London. So that's kind of my scope of search. I actually didn't apply for any other except for Hult. First of all, I want to make sure that it's the right school for me. And of course, when you apply, you have to pay for a deposit fee or application fee. And it just takes time to fill in applications. So for myself, I have really want to really focus on where I want to go. And so after looking at different schools, I just decide at Hult. Other than just the national, the international part, I'm really looking forward. Well, now that it's COVID, maybe a bit hard, but I really was looking forward to the rotation part of it as well. I was studying in the US for my exchange during the undergrad. So exchanges or going to other parts of the world to study has always been an amazing part of your study life. And Hult allows you go to all the campuses you want to without another layer of selection, application. The whole summer you can go to all 6 campuses if you want. It really opens up a lot of different opportunities for yourself. As you know, London, Boston, San Francisco, New York, Dubai, and so really, they are all located in very strategic locations, and you can really find the locations where you might want to do your internships at the end of your electives, or that's where you want to develop yourself in your career. You can literally end there, even if you started in London. And I think that was something I was really excited about. Even I might come back to London, but at least I can really go to different campus, understand the work environment, the job market over there, and then come back. Or who knows, maybe I find a job and stay there. And I think that is the part that it excites me the most. And also the curriculum itself, they lay out everything that, including a capstone experience where you really work with companies for the spring term. And I think these are the real practical examples or experience that I'm looking for from an MBA, to really not just about going to class, listen to the class, but also doing something that it can be applicable in real life. That's like the two things that I would say on top of a very international cohort. But I think sometimes you need to give a try, especially after I go to different info sections, talk to the alumni or current students, you have a good feeling. And I think that is the kind of the decision that I made on the spot after talking to them, because I think, it's not easy to be an ambassador if you don't trust the school. I think the commonality is that we are really, really international. I know it sounds very cliche, but we're in a class of 80 plus people in this cohort. We have more than 38 different nationalities. We have a split of 50-50 female and male, which we're really proud of, especially as a female myself. And whenever I'm in a group project, there is never another person from Hong Kong or even Asia. That's the commonality, that we are all so different. And because we are all, eager for that, and that is the part that where it's the best, because we're all very eager to learn from different culture, different background. And that's when the sparks happen, because people are just so different, and when you work together, people are really believing what they usually do. And that's when you kind of learn, like, how do you interact with, for example, a French person, a British person, an American. They're all different. And I think, but people all really understand that that's what they're there for. And I think that is very important, that kind of lay the expectation you are there to learn that. You can't take your own method as the, best. You have to be open-minded. And I think no matter the school or for people who are going there, has a really well understood mindset that when I'm there, I need to be open-minded to learn, even if it's hard and sometimes it doesn't come naturally. We have to have those conversations. Hey, that is not very cool for you to say that. It's a little bit, on the edge, but I think that it's a very cool thing that I get to be part of. I think my cohort might be at the heart of it for COVID. With that, we all made a decision that COVID is still here. We don't know what's happening, but let's just do it. Because part of the reason for myself is that, yes, this is happening, but should I stop myself from moving forward? Is that going to change if it's next year? What if next year is still the same? So why do I need to wait until the next year? And when I'm doing the program, actually, I appreciate something that maybe I will not get out of if it's not because of COVID. The things that we talk about in class, because everything is changing around us. There are a lot of things we can constantly bring into class for discussion, because it is happening right now, right then. And it makes all the difference, because if it's not COVID, we won't have all these ideas, we won't have these all innovations, we won't have, crazy marketing from Burger King saying go buy McDonald's, But that helped us to think a bit differently as well. And I think that shows a lot of resilience from our cohort and from the school as well, I think, to make sure that the experience can be as fruitful as it can. And like for Hult, I think it is a few schools that is still doing classes in person. And I know that the school has been doing very, hard job to make sure that we can still do it while being safe. We have a class in person, a class online, and things move very seamlessly between online and in person as well. And also for networking, of course, in the class, and we now move on to a different team whenever different courses. So we work with different people for different courses, while instead of stay with one team, and they assign us to different team instead of I'm friends with this person, I'm always with this person. So I think also we have a lot of virtual events with alumni, and that has been very helpful to just start networking. And I think the career team at Hult has been a very great support, and they can't emphasize enough how we need to reach out to them. At the end of the day, we are in the driver's seat. We need to do the first step to reach out to them. And whenever I reach out to them, they have been always very helpful. And I can be very honest with what I'm concerned about, no matter it's COVID or virtual networking. They are always there to support and kind of, in a way, they are figuring it out as well, but we are figuring it out together. So you don't feel like you're alone. I think it's two things mainly. First of all, of course, I hope that I will be figuring out what I want to do. That's kind of the goal, why I did it in the first place, or started doing it in the first place. I guess instead of saying that I know exactly what I want, I know where I want to go next. Like, where is the direction I want to go next? It might be, different path than I thought, but at least I know in the future, that's what I really want to do throughout my career. And the second thing is, it's the network that I get from Hult. And I think within this 2 months time, you will already make friends that you feel like you've known them for a long time. And I think with COVID, it kind of even helps you to do that, because everyone is on the same boat. Everyone is going through the same thing. It kind of unites everyone together even more than usual, I would say. And I would be very, very happy by the end of it if we're all have a very strong team. Those networks, those friendships will stay, and you never know where you're going to be, but those people has gone through the same thing with you, and you can always go back to them and have a laugh about what happened and things like that. And I think that is the best feeling when you go through some major experience together. I think if they're watching the video, I would say just reach out. Even if you haven't done your research, sometimes it's the best thing if you talk to someone, or you attend an online virtual event. Sometimes speaking to a real person makes a difference, a big difference. And that's what happened to me when I was applying for my MBA. And after all, we're all humans, especially in the COVID time. Other than just doing research on the computer, just reach out and talk to people. Even if it's not Hult, but just reach out as much as you can.